Last video, page 31 for this section, solving the quadratics using the quadratic formula. You may want to write the quadratic formula at the top of this page. I think it'd be a good idea. See if you can memorize it. See if you can write it. So on E, you always need to be looking for standard form. You might not recognize it, but you've got to be very careful because this minus 4x needs to be after the x squared. So we're going to rewrite it. And now we're ready to begin to use the quadratic formula, where a is going to be 1, b is going to be -4, and c is going to be -7. Being really careful of these signs. X is going to equal the opposite of -4, which is positive 4, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is positive 16, -4 times -4, minus 4 times a times c. No longer square root, all over 2 times a, which is 2 times 1, which is 2. So when we clean this up, we get x is equal to 4 plus or minus, and we need to be careful when we're cleaning this up. This is 4 times -7, which is -28, minus and minus makes plus. So this becomes 16 plus 28, all over 2. X is 4 plus or minus the square root of 44 over 2. And because 44 doesn't have a perfect square root, we can just write our answer like this. X is equal to 4 plus the square root of 44 over 2, and x is equal to 4 minus the square root of 44 over 2. And again, you could hop on your calculators and figure out an approximation for the square root of 44 if necessary. I'm going to skip F. You can put that in standard form and do it. I want to go down and work H because it's got a fraction as a coefficient. Again, it's not in standard form either. So I'm going to go over here and add the 3 to both sides. And actually, you know, standard form, we have an integer coefficient. The quadratic formula will actually work using 4/3 as your a, but why? That it's going to be messy. So I would just as soon get rid of the fraction, eliminate it by multiplying through by 3. So I'm going to get 4n squared plus 12n plus 9 equal, and 0 times 3 is 0. So now I have a nice, neat set of integers. A is 4, b is 12, and c is 9. You may want to, maybe not so much on this example, but you're going to need your calculator for this example too down here. So let's keep working this one. Quadratic formula, x is equal to the opposite of 12, which is minus 12, plus or minus 12 squared, which is 144, and you know that, minus 4 times a, which is also 4, times c, which is 9, all divided by 2 times a. So when we clean this up, you end up, I don't know what happened to mine. Where's my guy? Let's see, how can I get him back? Let's see if I can still do this. So x is equal to, I don't know if you see a big blue box around this, but it should not be there. X is equal to minus 12, plus or minus, and this becomes the square root of 144 minus 144. So here again, we're ending up with a 0 under the square root sign, which happened to us on the previous page. So we have x equaling minus 12 plus or minus the square root of 0 all over 8. So we know both of our answers are going to be minus 12 over 8 because plus 0 and minus 0 doesn't affect our answer. So our answer is going to end up being, when we reduce it, minus 3 over 2 because 4 goes into both 12 and 8. So there's one answer because he appeared twice. I want to go down here and work this word problem with you, and you are going to need a calculator for this. You can use your fancy calculator, and if you can figure out how to enter the whole thing, then it can do all the work for you. I kind of did it piecemeal. So basically, it's giving you a function, and in this equation right here, and it's saying that there's some trivia for you. In this period, the number of films produced in the world can be modeled by this function. Somebody figure that out. Where X is the number of years since 1971. So, in what year were 4,200 films produced? So, Y is the number of films produced. That's going to be the 4,200. Is going to equal function. So you can see that these are big numbers. We're going to need to get this in standard form, which means we need to subtract 4,200 from both sides, and we're going to get 0 equals 10x squared minus 94x minus 300. So you can see how big the A and the B and the C are. Now, can you think of something to do? Maybe we can factor out something? I did it without factoring out the GCF, which was kind of silly, because if you factor out a 2, you get 5x squared minus 94 cut in half is 47 minus 150. And then you can divide both sides by 2, and now you have smaller coefficients. They're not small, but they're smaller than what we dealt with before. So I'm going to let you guys suffer through this on your own, and I'll come back and when we get together, I want to see what your answer is. But you can either choose to use A as 10, B as negative 94, and C as negative 300, or you can go with the reduced version and use A as 5, B is negative 47, and C is negative 150. And we'll see what you come up with. You should come up with the same answer I did, and we'll talk about it in class. Thanks for watching.